Okay, you can begin.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, class, my fellow classmates of leadership and ethics. Right. Today we're excited to present to you chapter 8, understanding complex organizations. Right. We group 8, and our members consist of Renessa Craig, Anne Marie Utley, and myself, Rumel Smith. Right, so we're gonna definitely elaborate more of chapter 7, which was teams and groups, and in this chapter we're going to broaden capacity, the capacity of the environment, and look at leadership from an organizational perspective, right? And what is a complex organization? Right? Complex organizations are those with numerous individuals, tasks, regulations, strategies, and basic units. And the topics that we're going to discuss today are groups and organizations, organizations as complex systems, organizational leadership, organizational structures, organizational mission, vision, and core values, organizational culture, organizational networks, life cycle of organizations, and the virtuality and impact of technology on organizations. I will now pass you all on to Renessa, who's going to continue the presentation on groups and
Hi,
organizations.
good evening, everyone. Um, I will be doing groups and organizations. So, how can we differentiate between groups and organizations? We can differentiate between a group and an organization by using the five W's and the H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Starting with who. Who are the people or how many individuals are involved? Groups are small to medium, so they consist of three or more individuals. Organizations are large, so 20 or more individuals or participants. What? What is a group? What is an organization? A group is a collection of individuals, whereas an organization is a collection of groups. When? When do they meet? When do they communicate ideas? Both have continuous interactions. Where? Where are they? Are they in the same place or far? Groups are close in proximity, but for organizations, proximity is not important. Why? Why are they involved in a group or an organization? They both are created for the same purpose, to achieve a common goal or purpose. How? How do they go about with their operations? Is it simple or complex structures? Groups have simple structures. Organizations, however, have complex structures. What is an organization? Organizations are vast networks of groups of individuals who continuously interact within a complex framework to achieve a defined goal. Characteristics of an organization. The characteristics of an organization are large, diverse, complex, continuous interactions, goal-oriented, and proximity. Organizations are large, consisting of 20 or more individuals. They are diverse because an organization consists of so many individuals. It is understandable that you will encounter a lot of different personalities, beliefs, morals or values, cultures, and views. Complex. They consist of many layers or departments with many leaders involved in decision making. Continuous interactions. To be successful, the various groups within an organization need to stay connected to keep working together easily and effectively. Goal oriented. Organizations exist to accomplish a specific purpose. This would have been what would have brought them together in the first place, the goal that they are willing to work towards achieving. And proximity. So, how their members are to each other. Although it is not necessary, it can be helpful. In organizations, they can keep in touch with each other with the use of technology or even through the strong belief in a mission or purpose. So, knowing the goal that they want to achieve and letting that help push them forward and keep them on track. I will now be passing you on to Anne Marie, who will be doing organizations as complex systems.
Good afternoon, class. So, organization as a complex system. What is a complex system? So, a complex system basically made up of many interconnected components. The interaction from these multiple components can be unpredictable, right? Um, as a complex system, they're characterized as interconnectedness, nonlinearity, emergence, adaptation. Interconnectedness meaning they are highly interdependent, dependent on each other. Therefore, if one person or let's say a department made changes, then this change can possibly affect other parts of the system. Nonlinearity descri- describes the relation with the system. As simple as a small input can cause an unproportion of large output, making the behavior of the system unpredictable. Emergence. This occurs from interaction of the system components with components cannot access by only one person. Adaptation. They adapt very easily following internal and external feedbacks or environmental changes. This sometimes can cause a shift in structure as well as function over a period. Then we have some types of complex systems, which is biological, social, and technological. Biological basically is a clear example of biological system is basically the ecosystem where species, the environment, and non-living things all interact in the most complex ways. Social system, this is where us as humans, organizations, and the economy function as a complex society due to socializing, the culture we embrace, and the condition of the economy. Technology. We are in a very advanced modern time now. So with technology, we are all surrounded by this um, form where we call the internet. Internet using interconnected device or users information to create interaction. So there is this book, I'm not sure if any one of you all would have heard about or have read it. It's called Out of Control. This book was written by Mr. Kevin Kelly. He decided to introduce the 9 laws of God in order to deal with a complex system, right? So the 9 laws is as described: distribute being, control from the bottom up, cultivate increasing returns, grow by trunking, maximize the fringes, honor your errors, pursue no optimal, have multiple goals, seek persistent disequilibrium, change changes itself. So basically, these 9 laws, let me explain what they mean. So distribute being is simple, the essence of the organization. Each member contributes, each member contribution to the organization identity. Control from the bottom up. This is where you want to encourage each member of the organization to initiate and make decisions. Everyone, more or less, is on the same level Cultivate increasing return. This focuses on what the organization benefits from mostly. To grow by chunking, you have to plan a strategic growth to enhance transformation and opportunities. Maximize the fringes. Uplift by creativity. Allow people to think outside the box, to drive innovation and allow the organization to stand out on its own. Honor your errors. Learn from your mistakes. This is what it means by honoring your errors. To pursue no optima, not having one answer to a solution. Support complexity using multiple solutions and ideas to enhance problem solving and adapting to uncertain surroundings. Seek persistent disequilibrium. Having that energetic environment where they understand that change is consistent, being able to respond to external shift. Change changes itself. Basically, a change can lead more changes, forming transformational cycle for continuous growth. I will now put you on to my colleague Renessa to present organizational leadership.
Why does organizational why does leadership exist in an organization? So take a moment to think about it. So we said that organizations are large and they consist of many groups or departments. So why do we need leaders in an organization? Uh, Anybody wants to help me answer that question? No? Okay. We don't want everyone doing their own thing and running around like headless chickens because they have no one to show them direction or no one to look to for advice, right? That could cause a lack of efficiency or chaos, right? What is organizational leadership? Organizational leadership is guiding and influencing individuals within an organization to achieve its goals, mission, and vision. Why does it exist? Organizational leadership exists for seamless functioning and sustainability in the organization. Seamless functioning. So, because of their complexity, organizations need leaders to help their departments work together to accomplish a specific purpose. Sustainability. Leadership is important because it helps with the sustainability of the organization. So, it helps the organization to exist over the long term. Leaders can meet an organization's objective by incorporating the relational leadership model framework, by being inclusive, empowering, ethical, and process oriented while helping all of the organization's members be purposeful and work towards positive purposes. Leaders and members can work together successfully to accomplish significant change. So, we have a picture here of the movie X-Men. From the very beginning of the movie X-Men, Professor X brought together a team of mutants to fight off a global threat. He not only mentored them, but also wanted to create a peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants. So, as the later X-Men movies released, he showed transformational leadership skills by proceeding to train and empower more mutants, encouraging them to come together and work as a team. When he got older and weaker, he still mentored Logan and Laura, impacting and inspiring Logan to take on a leadership role himself, encouraging him to be more than just a fighter. So here in this movie, we could have seen that Professor X, he portrayed skills and we could see, well, he used the relational leadership model where he was being inclusive and empowering, and he even had a school for the mutants and he taught ethics in the school. I will pass you on now to Rommel.
All right. Thank you, Nessa. So, guys, we are going to look at organizational structures, right? Organizational structures like the blueprint of a company, right? It dictates how the tasks are divided, how communication flows, and how decisions are made. And every organization, no matter the size, has a structure that impacts its success. When you think of an organization, whether it's a school or business or even a committee, what structure do you imagine it operates under? So today, now we're going to explore four types of structures, right? The traditional organizational structure, the inverted organizational structure, the Weber organizational structure, and the non-hierarchical organizational structure. So the first one, which is the traditional organizational structure, is the most familiar one, where there's a clear hierarchy. It's a pyramid shape with, and you always see the diagram in a bit, where the CEO is on the top, the executive on the top, middle management in between, and employees at the bottom, right? And this structure is often found in larger companies and government organizations. So let's look at some characteristics here. So there's a clear hierarchy where the chain of command is well defined. So for example, if you think of a school, the principal is at the top, followed by the vice principal, the teachers, and then the students. Okay. So with centralized decision making, decisions are made at the top and passed down. And with functional divisions, the departments are organized by function. You have your HR, you have marketing department, you have IT, etc. Right? So for example, let's look at like Republic Bank, which follows a traditional hierarchical structure. The CEO oversees the bank's operations, and managers at different branches report to regional heads, who in turn report to the CEO. So, and there are pros and cons, right? So with this structure works well with large organizations because it provides stability, a clear chain of commands, and rules, all right, are clearly defined. However, it could be slow to adapt to change, and lower level employees may feel from making disconnected from decision making processes. Next, we look at the inverted organizational structure, right, a flip to the which is a flip to the traditional organizational structure, right? A upside down pyramid. And in this case, the frontline employees, those who directly interact with customers, are at the top, and executives at the bottom, serving as support. And the aim is to empower employees who are closest to the customers, giving them more autom- autonomy. autonomy. Characteristics. So we have employee empowerment, where the employees are trusted to make decisions because they are the ones directly dealing with customer needs, right? We have leadership as support, where the managers act as mentors and provide the tools necessary for employees to do their job well, rather than give direct orders. So let's look at even like Flavorite Foods, which focuses on customer service, might adopt this structure to empower its sales staff, placing customer interaction at the core of its strategy. And yes, we have pros and cons with this. So that with this structure, it encourages innovation and makes employees feel more valued, which can improve moral and customer satisfaction. And however, It may not work well in large organizations that need centralized control and oversight. Right. The next structure we'll look at is the web, right, which is also called the network structure. Is decentralized where multiple teams work independently but are interconnected. There's no clear central leader. Instead, it's groups collaborate and share information. And this structure is common in creative industries or fast-moving tech companies. I'll give some characteristics. So with decentralization, there isn't a strong isn't a strong hierarchy. Teams are self-organized and operate independently, right? There's flexibility as well. It's ideal for organizations that need to adapt quickly to new challenges or projects. Interconnectivity, where teams still communicate and collaborate, but are not restricted by the traditional top-down management, right? So let's look at a carnival committee, right? These committees operate like a web structure, right? Where we have bands, we have costume designers, we have event planners, we even the security, all work independently but coordinate for a shared purpose, right? Making Carnival a success. And I will give some pros and cons where this, this structure allows for creativity and quick adoption. It's perfect for project-based industries where innovation is needed. And some cons we could say like with coordination can be a challenge if there's no central authority. This can lead to confusion and lack of accountability. Right, that is a diagram there. So let's look at the non-hierarchical organizational structure, right? There's no formal leadership. All employees are seen as equals. Decision making is a collaborative process, often relying on consensus. This structure works best in small teams where every member contributes equally to the organization's direction. Right? With some characteristics like having to share decision making where everyone has an equal say and decisions are made collaboratively. There's no formal leadership, as I mentioned, man. So on a bigger scale, there's no manager, no CEO. Everyone is on the same level, right? There's a mutual responsibility. So no official leader. Everyone is responsible for the success of the organization. And even like I'll say for example, like with me, I'm a music producer, right? And in order for us, even as a team, we have to ensure that we 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 finish a song, right? I just bringing it down even into my world where I could I am doing the music. There's a writer and there's a singer, and we all have that. We all have this shared goal where it says the finished product is the song, and to have nobody bigger than nobody here. And there's definitely there's no leader within the process. We are all collaborating to ensure that we get uh, a song, right? So that was my example, and so let's do a recap here. So we could look at traditional inverted web non-hierarchical, where we see that each structure impacts decision making, flexibility, and communication within an organization. And you can see each structure has its strengths and weaknesses, and the success of an organization depends on choosing the right structure based on its goals, size, and industry. So if you were starting your own company, right here in Trinidad, which structure would you choose and why? Anybody? All right. So I will pass on to my classmate on organizational mission, vision, and core values.
Thank you, Romel. So, organizational mission, vision, and core values. So, anyone from the class, have you ever, like, you know, walked in the organization and you notice on the wall they have this mission statement and it will tell you um it determines the success or the failure of that organization. So an organization mission, right? It has a purpose and it has main objective. Basically, it tells us what the purpose and the objective of the organization is, who is the audience, and how it's going to be beneficial to the organization. For an organization vision, it gives a long-term aim and objective. The organization basically it tells you how the organization will look in the near future. What are they aiming towards, or organization culturally and ethically. So anyone could tell me um, if they know the importance of these three concepts of an organization. Do you all think it is important, or you all don't think it is important? Okay, so we'll move on to the importance of organizations' mission, vision, and their core values. So the mission is basically used as a guide. It help the organization focus on their goals, and it also acts as a motivation. So for guidance, it will give them a clear understanding on the organization's decision or strategic plan. Focus, it will ensure that the priorities of the organization are met to cite their core purpose. Motivate Motivational aspect, it will encourage the employee to work for a better purpose. For the vision help inspire, they develop strategies, and it helps position the organization. And to inspire, it show the bright side of the organization and for the employees. And strategies having it basically tell have basically tells you that the long-term plan on how to go about being a sustainable organization. And to position the organization, it ensures everyone working towards that specific goal positively. The importance of core values. So, culture. This is how the employee will interact with each other on a daily basis along with their employer. So, let's say, for instance, in where I work at a medical lab, and I will say we have a really good culture where, I mean, everyone are able to interact and, you know, we get along well, we work well as a team, right? I don't have anyone, you know, making this one feel uncomfortable in that such way that, that person don't want to feel like they're not a part of the team or they don't want to be a part of the team, right? The decision making. So basically, there are frameworks used to decide what works um, in terms of the organization's beliefs and ethics. And then we have the brand. So the brand is always the forefront of an organization. So you want that brand to be reputable and ensuring its commitment. Um, and it also attracts its customers. I will now pass you on to Renessa.
So, what is organizational culture? I have here a short video for you all to watch, and we'll come back and discuss it after the video.
Let me introduce you to Jim. Hello, Jim. Let's follow Jim as he grows up, follows his dream, creates his own company, and learns a lot about organizational culture. Every human organization creates a unique culture all its own. From a small family business operating in its hometown to a large global corporation spanning cultures and time zones, each organization has a distinct identity. Organizational culture is influenced by beliefs and assumptions. What do we mean by beliefs and assumptions? Beliefs and assumptions come from the things that we hear, observe, and learn. They also come from the things that we try. Sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't. Then we rethink and try again, just like little Jim. Now let's follow Jim to the university. He meets friends and inspires them.
A quick aside, it's important. I'll give you a simple example. When we talk about operating,
3 cheers for Jim and his friends as they graduate and team up to form an organization of their own. They decide together where they want to go. They create a foundation that everybody can use and recognize. They form teams which align and engage together to succeed in their market. But in order to succeed, organizations need to be able to adapt. Let's watch Jim and his team as they strive for success together.
Okay, so what is organizational culture? Organizational culture is a pattern of similar beliefs that was learned from solutions of outer and inner problems, worked so well that it was valid enough to be taught by new members as a way to perceive, think, and feel about problems. Every organization has a culture unique to them. Here we
Underneath the
have
surface
now,
of an organizational culture, we have assumptions, beliefs, perceptions, thoughts, and feelings. These are taken
we
for
have
granted. We can't see them.
the
Organizational culture is learned. Over time,
Sorry about
the
that.
lessons from the past shape our work and life strategies for the future and are important enough to pass on to the next generations, not only for their survival, but also for their development, evolution, and success.
okay, sorry about that. We have now the iceberg image, which represents the three levels of culture. So, as we would have briefly seen in the short video explaining what organizational culture is, Sheen's iceberg model shows three levels that are artifacts, shared values, and assumptions. At the very top, we have the artifacts. They are These are the structures and processes of the organization, the things we can see or touch. So we have like the products, office layout, interior design, language, dress code, technology. In the middle, so from here, things that we can see. We have the shared or espoused beliefs and values of the organization. These are the strategies, goals, and philosophies that the organization claims it embraces. Organizational structure, objectives, strategy. And at the final and deepest level, we have the underlying or basic assumptions. These are the beliefs, perceptions, thoughts, and feelings that are assumed to be true by members of the organization. These underlying beliefs drive the value and actions of the organization. Deal and Kennedy offer a framework from which they examine organizational cultures, values, heroes, rites and rituals, and communication networks. Values provide the core of the organization and a guide for the behavior of members. Heroes make success more possible to achieve, provide role models, symbolize the organization to outsiders, preserve what makes the organization special, and sets a standard of performance and motivates members. The rites and rituals. The rites and rituals provide the formal and informal guidelines for how the everyday occurrences within the organization are to proceed. So how members should interact, work and play, as well as their reward systems. Also govern intricacies of how the organization operates. So how meetings are conducted and stuff. Connection network, how the information is gathered and disseminated both formally and informally. So we have these storytellers, priests, whisperers, gossips, administrative support sources, and the spies. The storytellers interpret what is happening in the organization. So what they say may be true or false because it reflects their perception. Priests. These see themselves as guarding the values of the organization's culture and keeping the membership of the organization together. The whisperers. They work behind the scenes and have power because of their close connection to the leadership of the organization. Gossips. Gossips can provide detailed information about what is happening within the organization. Information can be true or false as well. Administrative support sources. These can tell members what is going on in the organization due to their access to important information. And we have the spies. The spies are loyal to the leaders of the organization and provide information to them about what is happening. We have the cabal. So these are cliques whose main purpose in joining together is to advance themselves within the organization. So these would be alliances that are in secret. Hofstede adds to our understanding on organization culture through his studies, in which he proposes that people define five broad dimensions. The power index, the power distance index is the degree to which the particular society supports equality or inequality. Individualism. This is how much individual work is emphasized over collective action. Masculinity. Masculinity is the degree to which traditional male values are embraced over traditional female values. Uncertainty avoidance index. The degree to which ambiguity and uncertainty are tolerated. And long term orientation. So, how much a long term perspective is favored over a short term view? These can help us to understand organizations more by reminding us that people have different beliefs and preferences for how the world works. So, after hearing about organizational culture, does anyone want to share with the class what their organization's culture is like? There's no right or wrong answers. You know, the culture, you could share your artifacts. So, like the things that we could see, the dress code, the interior design, the layout, or you could share your similar beliefs. Anybody? Okay. I'll share what what the culture was like at my last job. So I worked in a school. So the things that we could have seen, the culture was, everyone dressed professionally. Um, our principal office is like it's all about perception, I guess, for the students. If a student gets called in the principal office, like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble, it's a real scary place. But like for the workers of the, organization, it was like really chill. We had a tea station and everything. We could rock back and relax. Even though the teachers had different ranks, you would have never really know if it wasn't for like the exclusive duties of the senior teachers in the absence of the principal and stuff like that. And well, the basic assumptions. So the culture in the school was like everybody had the same values and stuff, like to keep the children safe, basically. So you would tell children to run, and time you see them doing anything bad, you tell them to do it, and because it was to encourage safe play and friendly interactions among the children, right? So we have an image here, right? So this image, there is no right or wrong answers. I just wanted to know, like, I just wanted to see like the different perceptions. What are you all seeing in this image?
It seems as though someone is looking for change and everyone else just not interested in having any sort of change done in the organization.
Okay, yes. Anybody else?
It
Yeah, it
almost
seems
seems like if
like.
they're sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just about to say it almost seems like if they were ready to oppose or just they have a negative connotation towards whatever the person is trying to present.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Somebody else wanted to say something?
Yes, I just want to say that yes, other members seem to be objecting on what the person standing is trying to bring across.
Yes. So when I first saw the image, I looked at it and I thought, maybe the person who is standing with the, well, saying, new and improved, is somebody who is more recent in the company, in the organization, right? So the more senior individuals who are sitting around the table, probably having a meeting, um, they probably could have asked a question or and all, if it have any suggestions or anything. And this person stand up to say, well, yes, I have idea, for something to be new and improved. But the culture in this organization could be, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Culture isn't easily changed or changeable. Once it's set, it's kind of hard to change it because we get this culture um, from problem solving, from solutions. So if it is something is working and it's working well, why would we want to change this, right? So an an organizational culture can also be negative within the organization. Norms cause resistance by blocking new learning. So because we say, well, no, this is what we are accustomed to, we close off ourselves for a lot of new information that could possibly be good for the company. And they also cut down on a variety of perspectives to be an issue. So instead of taking, different routes to solve a problem, we stick to this one when a next solution could probably be more efficient for the company, right? So resistance to change in culture can be because of fear of the unknown, loss of comfort, or threat to job security. I will now pass you on to Ramel.
Yes, thanks, Vanessa. So we are going to look at organizational networks, right? An organizational network is like the system of connections and relationships between people in an organization, right? These connections can be formal, like departments working together, or informal, like friendships between co-workers, right? And the strength of an organization really depends on how well these networks are built and maintained. So that's, well, Mark's the other question. So you ever heard the saying where is not what you know, is who you know? Yeah. How do you think this applies to organizations? So we'll explore three keys of organizational networks, right? Internal, external, and informal. Internal consists of the connections between departments, teams, individuals within an organization. Think of this as the way people within the company are linked together to get things done, right? And these networks are really essential for ensuring effective communication and collaboration and the smooth functioning of day-to-day operations, right? Um, and some key features where the with cross departmental collaboration, right? Different departments like HR, marketing, and IT working together is a sign of a strong internal network. And with communication channels, the effectiveness of an organization depends on how information flows across different levels and departments. So in large, so still on still with internal networks, right? In large companies like Massey, there are various divisions, like such as the retail, the energy, and distribution, and that must collaborate regularly. And these divisions are connected by internal networks that allow them to share information and resources efficiently, right? how it would affect a company if one department like marketing never communicated with another, like the product development. This could lead to disconnection and missed opportunities. So we're going to look at the external network now, where the connections are in an organization has with outside the entities like suppliers, customers, or other businesses. These networks help the organization stay competitive, innovate, and reach a broader audience. Right? These networks really help organizations extend their reach and gain new knowledge and really tapping into external resources. So with partnerships within external networks, collaborating with other companies, universities, or even NGOs can help organizations gain new insights or access to new markets, right? With supplier and customer relationships, strong external networks ensure that the organization's supply chain is reliable and that customer feedback is incorporated into product development, right? So we could even look at we could look at custard as a good example of an institution with strong external networks where it partners with international universities to collaborate on research projects, which brings in global perspectives and funding. So external networks are really essential for growth and sustainability. They allow organizations to tap into new markets, as I said before, innovate and improve services by learning from others. Next, we have informal networks. Informal networks are the social connections between individuals within or outside the organization. These are not part of the formal organizational structure, right? But are crucial for getting things done, right? Friendships built on friendships and trust. Informal networks are based on trust and mutual respect. So people are more likely to share valuable information or collaborate if they have a personal connection, right? And you have an invisible influence where often decisions are influenced by informal networks, as these relationships help build consensus and spread new ideas faster than formal structures can. Right? So with informal networks, they are key to navigating workplace dynamics, while formal structures define how things should work. Informal networks really determine how things really get done. Can anyone think of a time when a personal connection helped them in a job or a school project? Even though it wasn't officially part of the plan. All right. So with with a recap, we could see with internal networks, it helped break down silos and improve communication within the company. With external networks, it allows organizations to grow by collaborating with external partners and suppliers and customers. Informal networks, the unseen connections that helps things move faster within an organization. So, so for both formal and informal are the lifeblood of any organization. Whether you're a small business or large corporation, building and maintaining strong network is key to success. Next, I'll pass you all on to my classmate on the life cycle of an organization.
Hi everyone. So, life cycle of an organization. I'm sure none of us here never think that, organization have a life cycle. I mean, about water life cycle and these kind of things. So anyways, this is a short but very detailed video on the life cycle of an organization.
Companies go through different development stages over time, and nowhere is it said these phases should coincide with an industry's development stages. That's why it is very important for managers to recognize these stages and the possible challenges and obstacles they will likely face in each phase. This would help them manage change more effectively and apply different approaches to be successful. We can identify 7 development stages in a company's life cycle. Each is unique and represents a challenge from a different perspective. Typically, a company's life cycle starts with a seed stage. Then, if things go well, a startup will be formed. Once the startup grows, we'll be in growth stage, followed by the establishment and expansion phases. The final 2 stages of a company's development are maturity and possibly an exit. Let's dig deeper and describe each of these stages in more detail. The seed stage starts when a business idea is born. This is when you decide to set up a company. However, before starting it, it would be reasonable to verify the feasibility of your business idea. Discussions with other people can be fruitful. Industry specialists, business associates, and even family and friends can help you formulate your idea and decide on a plan of action. An entrepreneur must imagine the whole process and make sure there is a match between the business scope and his personal background, experience, skills, and passions. You will have to make several decisions related to business planning, ownership structure, staff recruitment, and financing. Having a clear idea how the venture will be financed and what resources you will need in the first months of operation is critical, given that during this period, the new company will likely operate producing no revenues and will incur significant costs. If you plan to contact investors, present to them a well thought out business plan that includes a 3 to 5 year projection of financials. If everything goes well in the seed stage, you can form a startup company. Studies have shown this is the riskiest stage over the entire life cycle. 90% of startup companies fail, so founders must be careful in this phase. Usually, during the startup phase, the firm can take one of its products or services to market and see if clients perceive it in a positive way. Active listening allows for much needed fine-tuning and product improvement. In addition, the firm must focus on building a lasting relationship with its first clients. Using cash flow in a reasonable manner is high on the list of priorities. In addition, the time to take products to market is crucial at this stage, as it would allow the company to register revenues and cover some of its expenses. Once a company takes its product to market and starts selling it to an increasing number of customers, it enters the growth stage. This is when the majority of companies reach break-even and are generating sufficient revenues to cover their expenses. 2 conflicting phenomena occur here. The company needs its founders' attention for multiple issues, like customer satisfaction management, administrative tasks, management of daily activities, and employee feedback. But she shouldn't miss the big picture and underestimate her role as a company head. That's why it's time to think about hiring personnel who can take over some of the founder's responsibilities. Once they are on board, the founder must think about how to define and communicate the firm's goals and how to motivate staff towards the firm's vision. It's highly likely the company must invest in new management and accounting systems at this stage. To cope with increased competition, the company should continue to invest in innovation and advertising. By the onset of the establishment phase, the company's operations are standardized, and it has a stable stream of revenues. The focus falls on implementing sound business practices and on boosting productivity through automation and outsourcing. It is likely the founder must delegate some further decision-making authority to division heads and consultants. Companies that have done a good job in the growth and establishment phases will probably enter the expansion stage. It consists of geographical expansion or expansion across other products or distribution channels. When going internationally, a new set of topics arises. You have to wonder if the existing capacity is going to cover the expected demand you will have in the new markets. What are the competitive advantages of your products in these markets? How are you going to deliver your products locally? Will you have a website in English only? Are you going to accept online payments? Of course, having a successful business locally does not mean this will transfer into an immediate international success. After a while, a company that has successfully gone through the expansion stage enters maturity, which is characterized by stable sales and profits. Growth of revenue slows down, but that doesn't mean these aren't good times for the firm's owners. The beginning of the maturity phase is when they make the most money. However, the maturity phase can also be characterized by a strong level of competition, which results in losing market share. Many mature companies try to sustain their business by finding new business opportunities and fueling the growth of the mature part of their business. At this stage, shareholders must decide whether to expand the business even further or exit the investment. An exit typically consists of selling the company to another firm operating in the same industry or to financial investors. These are the life cycle stages a company typically goes through. Understanding what can be expected in each is a must for anyone who wants to start a business. Companies go through different companies go through different
As the company showed, so that's the 7 stages, the life cycle of an organization. Um, I'm sure most of us here would have heard that, um, one organization is closed down and it's taken over by another organization. And well, for me, I never thought because I just think, well, maybe they're bankrupt or or they or in that way, right? So after looking at this video, that's where I, fully understand why some companies are actually taken over by a different company, right? The fact that they were not able to be competitive or maintain that mature stage in the markets. So they had no other choice more than to exit at the last stage. I will now put you on to my colleague Romel to discuss our final chapter of our presentation.
Yeah. Thanks, Anne-Marie. So, so before I even dive into the virtuality and impact of technology on organizations, let's just break it up. Let's look at virtuality, which refers to the shift from traditional and physical workplaces to more digital or virtual environments, right, where employees and processes are supported by technology. Right, technology has significantly changed how organizations function, from communication to operations. And when I mean, how much of us here use Zoom for school or work, or even Teams, right? Nobody here could lie. So we have all we've used these tools, which are examples of virtual tools that help organizations run in today's tech-driven world, right? We really came a long way. So like even with the technological growth over the past 2 decades, the rise of the internet, cloud storage, artificial intelligence has really revolutionized how businesses operate, from physical to virtual, right? Traditionally, businesses required physical offices, paperwork, and in-person meetings. Today, much of that work happens digitally with remote teams and online collaboration. You understand? So like even with storage companies like Google and Microsoft, right, that have using services like Google Drive and OneDrives, where employees can store and access files from anywhere. Right? With AI now in customer service, companies now using AI chatbots like Republic Bank's chatbot service to handle customers' inquiries virtually. Right? Can you think of any business in Trinidad or globally that have embraced virtual work or technology? I mean, I give the example of Republic Bank, but do you all know any other company?
I think all the banks using that right now. I don't think that have no one sitting in a call center answering the telephones now. I think they're all using um the artificial intelligence.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for that. So you could see the impact of technology on communication. So with enhanced communication tools, as Microsoft Teams, Zoom, have made communication between teams easier and even across different time zones. Right? We have remote work. Right? Employees no longer need to be physically present in the office. Remote work became essential, during the COVID-19 pandemic. I think everybody can remember that, right? With many organizations still maintaining hybrid or fully remote setups, right? And during that pandemic, Zoom was very popular. Zoom was very popular. Right? And we can't forget B-Mobile, Flow, and Digicel, which would have played a critical role by providing internet connectivities to businesses with making remote work possible, right? But even with all this, there are pros and cons, right? With the pros, you have instant communication, you have global collaboration, where it is that I could be here, I could do business, and I could be doing business with people in China, England. I don't need to fly out there. We could do everything, you know, through the same platforms. We could have meetings, right? And then it's also flexible for employees. The cons, where you have the over reliance on the technology, could lead to burnout or miscommunication if not well managed. Do you think remote work really makes communication easier or harder?
More difficult.
Why why you think so? Why you think it'll be more difficult?
Because when you're in a face-to-face environment, you might get more timely feedback as a there. Just talking in the perspective of a workplace, you might be around the person so that they would be kind of pushed or motivated to do the work, but remotely you don't know what that other person is doing, and not everybody is like driven to having stuff done, um if not monitored.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nilo. So with technology and organizational efficiency, right? Especially like with the AI and machine learning, these technologies help businesses make faster and smarter decisions based on data analysis. And AI also helps personalize customer experiences, improving satisfaction and loyalty. Right? You've seen like even with Amazon warehouse, where Amazon using robots and AI to streamline packaging and shipping process. We could even look at web source and all here too. Right? Everything now is just scanning from your barcode. Right? Look at this heritage petroleum, where they use digital technology to monitor oil production and ensure operational efficiency. So we really came a long way, and with the pros and cons now, where it reduces, as a pro, it reduces human error, it saves time, and it cuts costs, right? The cons, it requires employees to adapt to new systems, which can be challenging, especially for the older workforces. You understand? And some of the challenges with the technology, and this came up recently, especially like with the cybersecurity threats. You know, as businesses move online, they become more vulnerable to cyber attacks. Protecting sensitive company data, right? Protecting sensitive company data is a major concern for many organizations, right? And look at this, right? So that is on a big scale, big business. But look at us that involving us. We we put our information on Facebook. Sometimes people put too much information on Facebook, right? I mean, and they'll always tell you, be careful on what it is you really put out there, because there's no way of taking it back down. Once it reach out there, that's it, right? So we literally have to depend on the the cyber security, like some strong systems that will be put in place to really protect the data that is out there. All right, and then also the next challenge is the work-life balance, where the convenience of working from home can blur the lines between work and personal life. That could lead to burnout. Understand why? I guess while I doing work, I probably washing my clothes, or after I tend to something else in your house. And by the time you finish the day, you're gone through. But yeah, just go back physical and be on work. But as I say, that is one of the challenges with balancing that work life, especially working from home. All right, and that is about it. So my final thought in terms of the impact is that the future of work is largely digital, and organizations could balance technology with human-centered leadership will thrive in the modern world. All right, so thanks for listening. I want to pass on to Renessa, who would conclude today's presentation. Thank you.
So, to conclude, organizations are networks of groups of individuals, which are complex systems, who continuously interact to achieve a common goal. Organizational leadership is the guiding and influencing of individuals to achieve its goals. Every organization has a structure unique to them to define roles, responsibilities, and relationships. An organization's mission, vision, and core values are foundational statements that guide its purpose, direction, and principles. Every organization has a distinct culture influenced by values, beliefs, and assumptions. The life cycle of an organization is a model showing the phases a company goes through during its existence from startup to exit. Virtuality and technology impact organizations by transforming their operations from being physical to remote or digital. And an organization can creatively use the talents and ability of all its members by using the relational leadership model. So that will conclude our presentation today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for participating.
How do I stop the share?